Terry, I want you to say, how do you feel right now versus 4 years ago?
I would say certainly our early voting, which brought us equal or above the Dems, makes me feel great because we weren't even close in 2020. I mean, it was 2/3, 1/3, and I would say right now we've got the slight lead on that. I'm seeing 51, 52, 48, somewhere in that. So coming into game day here, I mean, I really feel good. So far, we've seen some pretty heavy voting out here in kind of the western part of Waukesha. Our concern, of course, is over in Brookfield and Elm Grove and right along that Milwaukee borderline that was just redistricted here. So that's a concern for us. We're pushing hard. We're pounding the phones right now of every Republican and every low prop red over on the eastern side to push out. But if I put it all in context, we're way ahead as of Friday night and that number and coming into game day. So I feel good.
Andrew, you have a thought for Terry or Josh here, but this is the all-star team, everybody. And let me just say, email me right now, freedom@charliekirk.com, your successful voting story and how you have brought a new voter to the polls. That's all I care about. If you guys are watching your high prop, you need to go bring a new voter to the polls. Andrew.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm hearing, it sounds like a lot is, and maybe you guys can confirm this or debunk it, but what I'm hearing across the board is that we're seeing really good turnouts in the rurals. We're driving up the score there, and the urban centers seem to be a little bit quiet. In PA, we're told that the urban core tends to kind of liven up as the day goes on. It gets a little bit more, the lines build up a little bit more. Is that what we're expecting in Milwaukee, in Atlanta? Is there a tendency for the Dems to come out in the afternoon in the urban core?
Well, I'll just say in Georgia, Democrats tend to do very well in the early part of early voting, and they don't turn out as much on election day. So the situation we find ourselves in this election is they really need to have very significant turnout in the next few hours. I can tell you that Whitfield County, Dalton, and North Georgia has already hit 80% of their 2020 election day number with 5 hours of voting to go. Bartow County, right outside of Atlanta, huge Republican stronghold, they're tracking ahead of their 2020 numbers. Cherokee County, Catoosa County on track to meet or exceed 2020 numbers. And we're just not seeing that in Fulton County or Clayton County or DeKalb County. They are not approaching those 2020 levels. And obviously, that was a very close election when all of that happened. So if we're exceeding our targets in these key precincts, I think that we're on trend for a good day. But yes, you're right. We will probably see more turnout as the day goes on, but it just is going to take an awful lot of turnout. But I'll say one more time, if you are a Republican and you have not voted in Georgia yet, we need you to get to the polls right now. Go to swampthevoteusa.com, go find your polling place, get out there and vote. And as Charlie said, if you've already voted, help us get your friends and neighbors out right now, because this is it. This is game time.
One follow-up, Josh, and then I want to hear the same about Milwaukee and Dane out of Wisconsin. But Josh, what is the time frame? When can you get in line and still vote today in Georgia?
As long as you're in line prior to 7 p.m., you'll be allowed to vote. So once you're in line before 7, just stay. You will be permitted to vote. Don't walk out of the line. You got to stay in line until they get you to your machine. But I will tell you today, the lines have not been long because we had 4 million people vote early. So in place, you're probably not going to have a line. So there's really no excuse to go in, check out, get it done for Donald J. Trump and the Republican ticket.
All right, Terry,
no, please, yeah.
Milwaukee, Dane, how we looking? Are we expecting later in the day turnout for the Dems?
Right, my good friend Josh there in Georgia, it's almost exactly the same in this state. Mean, what's taking place here? Really high early turnout, which did not bode well for the Democrats that way. Look, Dane County is going to be a monster. They're going to get their votes out. Brandon Malley and the Turning Point team up in Madison and Dane County is doing a good job. He's looking for 3 or 4 more points to lose by less up there. I think that's a good shot. I was talking to former Governor Thompson last night, and he feels good about Dane County. They're gonna put up their big number there. Milwaukee, on the other hand, so far has been quiet. Absolutely. I mean, we're looking at the inner city and the Hispanic vote.
So hold on, I got to interrupt. So Terry, Josh, you just said Atlanta eerily quiet. Terry, you just said Milwaukee is eerily quiet.
Yeah.
Why is that, guys?
We've heard the same out of Philly too.
What's going on?
Well, I'll mention one thing about Atlanta and Georgia is we saw really high turnout among black female voters during early voting, but they were really approaching the ceiling of which we had almost 300,000 people vote on Friday. So I think part of what we're seeing is a lack of enthusiasm among black male voters, and there aren't black female voters still available to go out and vote. They're literally running out of those. So I think that is at least what is driving the lack of turnout we're seeing in Atlanta right now.
Yeah. In Milwaukee,
Terry,
you know that on Friday night we had President Trump in the same Fiserv Forum, downtown Milwaukee. It was a very strategic move by the Trump team. I give him a lot of credit because I would have loved to have him out here in Waukesha, but we put him downtown. It was absolutely packed. A lot of crossover. Dems, I think, were very interested. Kennedy was there, pushed hard on that side. We just haven't seen much activity. Kamala was there. She was here in Waukesha County. Bill Clinton was in Waukesha County, but they haven't spent a lot of time at all in Milwaukee. It's surprising to us. Now, there's always a surprise at the polls down there because it is not trustworthy for sure. We're all over it with the election integrity team. But I mean, I've been around a while, and I've seen Milwaukee when it's up and crazy, like for Obama, and I've seen it when it's down. And I got to tell you that unless they have some kind of surge, I don't know about in the next 4 or 5 hours. I think that number is going to be down. I think Dane's going to be huge. And so that offsets, and obviously the wild counties out here, we've been infiltrated, and we've got to really pound and make sure that we wouldn't, everybody's used the word out here, cannibalize. We didn't cannibalize our game day by, voting really heavy early. I'm seeing heavy turnout here. Our eastern side is a concern. The middle and western portion of our county, I think, is excited and ready to vote at record levels.